There exists a place about 5,300 miles from my homeland of California. A magical place, adorned with serene landscapes, bustling cities, kind souls, incredible cuisine, and a great deal of mystic charm. And that place is Japan. At first we learned what ninjas and samurais were, and we thought, Japan's got some cool stuff going on, I like those guys. Then we heard about bullet trains. Very cool. Train fast now. I like that. Then Bakugan. God please make me Japanese. Amen. I first fell in love with Japan when I was about 13 years old. I'd just learned what meditation was, and like any 13-year-old learning of a new thing, I made it my entire personality for about 1 week. I would light a candle, sit on my bedroom floor, and listen to what I believe is called honkyoku, or as I called it at the time, Japanese flute music. I'm white. I would imagine myself in a beautiful Japanese garden and bask in that warm feeling for about 15 minutes before getting bored and returning to my computer to watch Markiplier.
Hello everybody, my name is...
Despite not achieving enlightenment, I did unknowingly plant a seed that would gradually blossom into a genuine love and respect for Japan. For a number of years, my friends would try to get me into anime, and I would make fun of them for watching it because I thought it was stupid baby stuff. But as fate would have it, it was I who was the stupid baby all along. I watched Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away at the ripe old age of 22, and I haven't looked back since. Now I'm the one eagerly waiting for Rem to wake up in ReZero Season 4. Anime is an interesting medium. I think the main reason why so many gems and duds can come out of the anime or cartoon medium is because there's less pressure to put out something that appeals to the widest audience possible. With significantly smaller budgets than the average live-action American TV show, anime studios can take more risks. In addition to this, the risk is often mitigated by the sales data of the manga that the anime is often based on. It's a very careful way of testing stories and expanding their reach as demand increases. And this approach leads to a lot of beautiful and strange stories we just wouldn't get otherwise. Another one of Japan's selling points is its relationship with quality. Nowadays, when you check a product's label and see that Made in China sticker, you don't have particularly high expectations for its durability or even design. And this used to be the case with Japan. Post-World War II Japan had a global reputation of exporting cheap, poorly manufactured products. That was until Swagmaster and Sony co-founder Masaru Ibuka came along and completely shattered that perception. Sony's mission statement from the beginning was to make Japan itself synonymous with quality, and Sony did exactly that. It didn't take long for other Japanese companies to follow suit, and by the 1980s, that negative image was flipped upside down. We got Walkman, we got PlayStation, we got GameCube. Sony was also responsible for inspiring Apple's co-founder, Steve Jobs. Jobs had a great admiration for Sony, so much so that during the early days of Apple, he took a trip to Japan to learn about Sony's design philosophy. And regardless of what you think about their functionality compared to other things on the market, you gotta admit that Apple products have always looked great. Another feature of Japan that piques foreigners' interest is its aesthetic and feel. Despite their shortcomings early on in the industrial era, Japan has always had an eye for design. From their temples, to their clothing, to even their cars, there's a lot of thought put into how these things function, appear, and feel. Japanese design often blends nature and minimalism in a way that is timeless. Robot waiters and other fun gimmicks aside, the Japanese are masters at invoking a sense of peace and serenity using design. Using clean lines, open space, and natural materials, they allow buildings and rooms to breathe. Wabi-sabi is a Japanese philosophy that highlights the value of embracing imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. This is what gives things a soul. We as people are imperfect, impermanent, and at times incomplete. And that, in a sense, is what makes us beautiful. And the Japanese seem to understand that very well. These tenets are deeply ingrained in Japanese culture, and frankly, their work ethic and motivation to achieve mastery over these disciplines is insane. This sort of ties into a darker aspect of Japan. Japan is a country that runs on honor, which I think is great, and we could use a bit more of that in the West.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Although this can become an issue when it's overdone. It's not uncommon in Japan for workers to stay late in order to avoid being seen as lazy or non-team oriented. And once one person starts to do this, if the others leave before that person, it might make them look bad. As a result, many workers feel obligated to stay even once the workday is over. While there is something commendable about this self-sacrifice, it can eventually lead to burnout and, in some cases, death. They even have a word for this: koroshi, or overwork death. Japan has long struggled with suicide rates and even stress-related deaths due to heart attacks and so forth, and it's really sad to see. I think if there's anything the Japanese could take away from the West, it would be to not be so hard on themselves. When I traveled to Japan about a year and a half ago, I saw the fatigue firsthand. People sleeping on the trains and salarymen that looked burnt out both mentally and emotionally. But everybody, and I mean everybody, was so kind and so helpful. More often than not, I saw that the Japanese care very much for other people and in many ways will sacrifice themselves for others' benefit. And I guess I just hope that someday they'll begin to care for themselves in the same way. Because as a people, they've developed an extremely rich and defined culture, many of the tenets of which would benefit those that adopt them. And they've touched the hearts of countless millions, probably billions, with their incredible storytelling. And because, well, they rule. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.